something? This person was definitely a part of the American story. His name is not Hussein Obama. He did not go to school in Indonesia. During that time, he wrote down his religion as being Islam. This is a quote from one of our founding fathers, from Thomas Jefferson. And if y'all over there are such Americans as you say, then you should be very interested in this quote. Thomas Jefferson wrote this many years ago. Thomas Jefferson said, "The two enemies of the people." Now Thomas Jefferson said that there are two enemies of the people. These enemies are your enemies. These enemies are your enemies. These enemies are my enemies. Now Thomas Jefferson, a long time ago, before there was much of a government or much of anything, Thomas Jefferson said, "The two enemies of the people are criminals and government." Thomas Jefferson said there are two enemies of the people. The two enemies of the people are criminals and government. This was said by Thomas Jefferson, which is considered to be one of the smartest people in our American story. The two enemies of the people are criminals and government. The two enemies of the people are criminals and government. So let us tie the second down. So let us tie the second down with the chains of the Constitution, so the second will not become the legalized version of the first. That is what we have right now in President Hussein Obama. The two enemies of the people are criminals and government. So let us tie down the second with the chains of the Constitution, not our Sharia, with the chains of the Constitution, so the second will not become the legalized version of the first. People ask us all the time, why are we here? I will tell you why we're here. We are here for the things that we have said, and we are here for something much more. For the last 1,400 years, Islam, the Quran, a book that does not recognize human rights and civil rights. For the last 1,400 years, Islam has killed thousands and millions of people. They did not burn the Quran. They did not insult Islam. They did not do anything. All they did was exist. All they did was worship another God. And they were killed and they were murdered. Like the Coptic Christians. What did they do? All they did was come out of church at the beginning of the year, and they were killed and murdered. Why are we here? For one thing, we are here to demand that the President of the United States, to demand that the Western leaders, that they begin to stand up, that they grow a backbone. We demand that they confront these nations in the United Nations, the Islamic-dominated nations, nations that do not allow freedom of speech, freedom of religion. They do not allow civil rights and human rights. We demand that they force these nations to adapt human rights, adapt civil rights, adapt freedom of speech, freedom of religion, we will no longer tolerate. That is a warning on you. That is a warning on Islam. That is a warning on the nations. We will no longer allow for Christians and minorities to be killed and massacred in those countries. We demand that these countries, either they open up their doors, they come out of the Middle Ages, they begin to act civilized, which I see you all also have a problem with that word, civilized, that they begin to act like civilized nations. They come out of the Middle Ages. We are going to demand that. My last quote before Wayne comes, and when Wayne is done, I will be back. So please don't go away. Thomas Jefferson said, I prefer. You know what prefer means? It means that's what I want. That's what I'm going to have. If I have this choice or that choice, that is what I prefer. Thomas Jefferson said, I prefer. That is why the crowd that is here, that it will grow. As we travel around the country, we will not be stopped. We will not be intimidated. We can be killed, but otherwise we cannot be stopped. That is why this crowd here will grow. And sooner or later this crowd will be much larger than this crowd, because like Thomas Jefferson, I prefer dangerous freedom. Thomas Jefferson said, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. America, what do you want? We need to wake up the spirit of America. People asked me before, who are you? What are you? Are you educated? Are you qualified? Who are you? I'll tell you exactly who I am. I'm an American. I'm an American with a stinking attitude. I'm an American with an attitude. And you know what that says? That means all you tough boys over there, you don't have a chance. Because like Thomas Jefferson, I prefer dangerous freedom to peaceful slavery. Now y'all don't go away. I'm in. You know what? I'm thankful for everybody that's here. Everybody that has been brave enough to stand up and say we are tired of being afraid. And I'm thankful for everybody that's had the courage to take a stand. But you know what? I'm thankful for everybody over there. Because the Bible says it is the sick that need the doctor, not the well. So you are here. God has brought you here for a reason, that you might hear a truth, and the truth might set you free. Thomas Jefferson, he said a lot of great things. I want to read you a quote also. Does the government fear us, or do we fear the government? When the people fear the government, tyranny has found victory. That is Islam. When the people fear the government, tyranny has found victory. The federal government is our servant, not our master. So the question has come up. The question has been presented to us time and time again. Is the city of Dearborn, is it operating
under Sharia law? Is this local state government? Is it operating under some form of Sharia law? Now I know we've all heard different examples of Sharia. The stoning of the adulteress, the hanging, the death of the homosexual, the persecution of the people, fear and intimidation. But let me tell you what Sharia is. Sharia is that governmental law that is there to protect and uphold Islamic belief. That is Sharia. Is the city of Dearborn, Michigan, is it operating under Sharia law? Well, what happened just 1 week ago? What happened 7 days ago is a clear example. 2 men, 2 Christians, came to speak out their opinion, to peacefully assemble, to give their opinion, their objective opinion about Sharia in America, about the radicalization of American Muslims. We came to stand on public property, and we were jailed. We were put in jail, actually with no charge. We were charged with disturbing the peace when we never made it out into the public to disturb the peace. Sharia was implemented here in Dearborn, and it takes away your freedom. It uses the government, it uses laws to forcefully take your freedom, to protect Islamic beliefs and Islamic teaching. So why are we here? We're here to point this fact out. This is now not an opinion. When we came a week ago, we came with an opinion about Sharia. Now we come with a fact about Sharia. Right here in America. So that is the question we have been asked. The question I'm going to ask you is, what is Dearborn's identity? We all heard of the Bourne identity, but what is Dearborn's identity? Is it Dearborn, Michigan, USA? Or has it been transformed under Islamic law into something else? We point these things out, again, not as an opinion, not to have you or you saying, wow, that's something to think about. That's an interesting point there you have, Pastor Sapp. I'll think about that. We're not here to ask you to think about it. We're here to call Americans to start standing up. Not to discuss, but to take a stand once again for values, for morality, for truth, for justice, for freedom. Talking about it does not get the job done. It's time we come out of hiding. It's time we come out from behind our church walls. It's time the Christians take to the streets again and do what we've been called to do. We cannot do that if we're hiding in fear. Taking a stand against radical Islam. I mean, that's the whole point, right? That is what we had come to protest in front of the largest mosque in America. Radical Islam.